Big Mike here with
He's Entertainment.
Today's episode. We got Dave Hunter, 3-time Stanley Cup champ with the Edmonton Oilers.
Like what we're doing, hit the subscribe button. Let's go.
My name is Dave Hunter. I played for the Edmonton Oilers. We were very fortunate in 3 Stanley Cups, and the great Michael and the boys for the great podcast.
Looking for the most beers on tap? Great steaks, great staff? Head over to the John B. Pub.
We got the best beers, steaks, chicken wings, nachos in town. Come see us at the John B. Pub.
The John B. Pub, the best bar in town. Come sign up for our football pool. Say Hayes sent you.
Turn it up. The #1 sports podcast in Vancouver with Ryan Hayes and Big Mike.
Ryan Hayes and Big Mike. Fun never stop. I Only Touch Greatness podcast.
They were hammering one another all the way up the ice. Well, I'm sure this has got something to do with Hunter working over LaFleur here in the first period and a half as well. Could be trying to work over LaPointe with that right hand. Now the officials are in there. Hawks trying to pick it up in their own zone to get it going again. They have exerted tremendous pressure on the Edmonton Oilers. And a fight has started now. Fox and Hunter, I believe, Bob, down there. All kinds of scrambling going on. They're trying to get those players out of there now like they're supposed to be back in their own area. They're just letting Fox and Hunter go at it. Neither one of them really getting too loose to do anything at this point. And in come the policeman. Back to Mark. And a fight has started in the center ice area. Hunter curved. It happened right from the face-off. Kerr dropped his gloves first. He doesn't get very upset. He's a big man, but not a real physical type of a hockey player. Something obviously ruffled his feathers. Start this. New number 12 going at it. That's a pretty good grip now. Sander and Buckler seem to be enjoying it. I'll tell you one thing, if I was Hunter, I'd hang on for dear life. I wouldn't want to let Big Tim Kerr get one of those long lefts in. So during that first period, they had 35 face-offs.
This is I Only Touch Greatness podcast with Ryan Hayes and Big Mike.
Hey, you guys can hear me today.
Yeah, we can.
Isn't that a lot better?
Yeah, way better.
Holy mackerel. This is Alberta. You know what we had this week? We had snow pile on Tuesday. It shut all the power down. Thank God we didn't do it Wednesday night. We would have had no power. I know.
Meanwhile, you guys are getting snow, and I'm ready to hit the beach.
I know. Is it warm out there right now?
It's pretty good, yeah. I'd say so.
Yeah, it's like 22 today. Not bad.
Was it, Mike? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy weather, but we always, before the long weekend in Alberta, always get snow.
That's funny.
Going on. It's always just before, and then it cleans up right after. So I don't know. Yeah. Oh well. Yeah. We're the crazy ones living here.
That's
right. Yeah.
So are you watching some playoff hockey?
Yeah, I was watching the Toronto game tonight. It's actually a good game, huh?
Really it is a good game. That injury was kind of scary though to see.
Oh yeah. Well, he didn't really, that's good. Nick Foligno sticks up for his guys, but I think Corey Perry was trying to jump him, right?
Yeah,
he was, right?
It didn't look predatory at all.
No. But it hit him square right. It had rated the right spot too, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then I just saw the other clip where he fell backwards just a couple seconds ago. That one was nasty. Yeah. And that's what happens, though, when you've been knocked out. He's probably concussed. And then, obviously, he's concussed if you're blacked out. And then that's when he tried to stand up and fell backwards.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty... Yeah, he got whacked. Well, then Corey Perry was skating pretty, sprinting too when he hit him. So that just the impact of his speed and the knee right in the head, that doesn't feel good.
No, not at all. Not at all. We'll get started here, Dave.
Okay.
We'll just redo everything basically from last time. So, born in Ontario, give us a story about childhood and growing up on the farm with the two brothers, Dale and Mark.
Well, Dale used to bite me when we had fights, and that wasn't very nice. He's like a pit bull, Dale. Dale was like a pit bull. He never stopped. That's how he played hockey too, right? He never stopped. He just if he couldn't beat you by wrestling or we're fighting, or he'd be like a pit bull. And I only think Mark was a lot younger than me, so he was 5 years younger than me. So but. Our dads, no matter if you stayed out late, even when you were 16, he always got you up. You had to go to work, right? So we were taught at a young age on the farm. We had to pick stones, which was the worst job, guys. Picking stones was hard on the back, even when you're young, and shape too. But he always made us that, which in the long run, you look back now, it didn't hurt us. So even my older brother Ron and my sisters, and we always had chores. I had to take care of the pigs in the barn, and Dad, Dale and Mark were involved with the cattle because we had beef cattle. When we were too young, when we had dairy cattle, but we always had chores to do. So.
Kept busy.
Yeah, I kept it busy. Yeah.
And what kind of other sports did you play during your childhood?
We played a lot in the summer. We played softball too. So a lot of times hockey was the major sport because, Dad didn't have the time all summer because of planting in the spring and then harvesting in the fall. So mostly it was hockey, but we loved playing softball. We played a lot of baseball too, right? I wasn't very good at it, but Well, you're not very good at all that. Get out of there. Yeah, got to play some other sport. But
you made the right decision, obviously.
Yeah, but we always enjoyed playing baseball, right?
And then you played your junior in Sudbury and represented our country in the 1977 World Juniors with John Anderson, Dale McCourt. What was that like?
That was a great experience. We were pretty lucky that time. Remember Hamilton Fincops with Dale McCourt and Bert Templin and them. They won the Memorial Cup that year. So they only picked players from their own province that time, right? It wasn't right across Canada, the picks that.
Oh, wow.
So it was like Ron Duguay came with me. There was Brad Marsh. And so we had that year. So we did it was a great experience in Prague, and my mom and dad came over and they loved it. We had, we did lose in the finals, so it was very disappointing, but Russia, beat us 6-4 in the finals, but it was a great experience. And Bert Templin was the hard-nosed coach, but I respected him a lot, right? Bert Templin, and he coached in junior hockey in Ontario forever, right? For years. He's passed away now, but I had a lot of respect for Bert Templin, and then so it was a great place, a good experience to go to Prague too, right? In Czechoslovakia, it was
absolutely
fun. Yeah.
And then, go ahead, right?
Oh, you go ahead.
Okay, I was going to say drafted 17th overall to the Montreal Canadiens, but then you ended up playing the WHA with Edmonton and then signing on with Edmonton. Is that correct?
That's correct. I would have been seeing icebergs in Nova Scotia if I would have went to Montreal. I could have still been in Nova Scotia working somewhere. But they had such a great team at that time. And Glenn Sather and Barry Fraser, which was our head scout at that time. And my dad left it up to me as a decision, but they give me the chance. They said that we're going to play, you're going to play more than you would in Montreal. Montreal had, they were at their peak at that time in 78. Right. So I had, and I was fortunate, to have the world hockey at that time where I could go to Edmonton. Right.
And then you got to play with some skinny little kid named Wayne Gretzky.
Well, Wayne was a privilege. He came, I came in, for September, he came after Indianapolis folded, right? With the World Hockey with Scalabrini and them. And then Peter Driscoll, Eddie Meal, them guys came in with Wayne. And, you could tell Wayne had even then, Wayne was a young guy, a young man, but he had the passion for the game, Mike, and that you could see it in him. Everybody will talk about his talent. He was a great guy, even at a young age. He's very mature at that age. He was ahead of us. We weren't as mature. We weren't as mature, but he was. And he you could tell. Well, he finished. I think where did he finish that year? He finished tied for third because Robbie Fatorik and Buddy Kluche beat him that year, but he was third of the scoring. He was
pretty good.
He just turned 18 years old. Yeah.
What's the greatest invention of your lifetime?
Well, invention now, what do you mean by that kind of? You mean just
in anything? It doesn't have to be in hockey or sports. Just looking for some wisdom.
I think the most, hard work. I think you got to have a passion and you got to love the game. And I think that's what we, when we had the winning teams back then, I think we all cared for each other more than just teammates. We cared as people. And I think the biggest thing with our whole team in back in them times is that caring for each other and do anything for each other, even when we're wrong. And we were wrong off the ice sometimes too, guys. But we always had our players and teammates. Everybody says you got to be a good team, but we actually cared no matter if you were on the ice or off the ice, right?
Take you back to your first NHL goal and your first rookie season putting up 43 points.
Yeah. I think, I thought that year I was going to score 30 because I scored in the first game against Tony Esposito. I remember watching him for years before that. It was actually his score, but I didn't work out. I only scored 12 goals that year. But it was a great experience, right? It was, playing in Chicago Stadium, our first game. I don't know if you guys, if you haven't been to that old rink, they had the organ playing. You even when we played them in the playoffs, you wouldn't have to get a motivated speech in the dressing room. The organ, the fans, it give you goosebumps in that Chicago Stadium because seems like all the noise just came right at you from the fans and the organ. It was an unbelievable experience.
And that's the organ that they have now, I believe, still in the United Center.
Yeah, they moved that over too, didn't they?
Yeah, I think they did.
Yeah, that was quite.
I've seen a game in the United Center, so I always remember that.
The only trouble in the old rink, you had to go up these steps to go out into the ice and go down the steps. So
the old rink,
you had
all the stairs.
Yeah, he had stairs.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I remember that. I was lucky enough to see Chicago Blackhawks versus Toronto Maple Leafs at the United Center one time in Chicago. And I ended up getting Cujo's autograph. That was pretty good. That's the only thing I remember from that trip. But yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was quite a place to play hockey.
What were some of your hobbies back when you were playing and some of your hobbies now?
Well, back in the old days, I was always at the racetrack. I wish I played more golf because I would be better than I am now. I played a bit golf now, but I wish I played more back in the old days. Me and Glenn Anderson and even Kevin McClellan was involved with the race. So I actually owned racehorses, so I was involved. I actually love not the betting as much. I loved going down to the horse track in the morning early, and I loved horses. We grew up on the farm with ponies and stuff like that. But we got into the thoroughbreds. We were involved with some harness racing. So that was when I played. That was my biggest. We also had fun and party a little bit down there too.
Oh yeah, I think so.
Yeah. We had a little bit of had fun that way too. So, but nowadays, you get busy after you're done your career, because we didn't make as much money back in our time, especially us average players. So what happened? We went to work, but we golf, and enjoy, and lots of friends we can go golfing with, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Winning 3 Stanley Cups, does one stick out more than the other?
I think the first cups, I think most guys would say that to win, because we lost the year before to the Islanders, and they showed us what the price you have to pay to win. And the Islanders had a great, and we always had a lot of respect for them, and with the Trotches, Bossy, Pot fans. And so what happened is, when we won the first cup, it's hard to, it doesn't sink in to later, right? That night, right? It doesn't really sink in when you're on the ice and celebrating, and until later that night or the next day, right? Then you go, geez, we did win. yeah, we did. But the price you had to pay, I think a lot of times in hockey, you learn from your losses too, right? And I think a lot of times the Honors taught us, you got to be humble, and you got to pay a price to make that big difference.
Could you give us a little tidbit of what it was like playing with Gretzky, Messier, Curry, and Anderson?
Oh, I was very fortunate to play with guys like that: Curry, Gretz, Mass, Paul Coffey, Glenn Anderson. It was amazing. I had the best spot in the game. I was sitting on the bench. I could watch you play all the time, right? yeah. I had the good seat. And Dave Semenko and I always said that, geez, Dave, we got the best seat in the house to watch them guys. Even in practice, you could see talent. It's unbelievable. It was very, I don't know the word. The word would be, it's unbelievable. You think later in life when you get out of the game and says, holy geez, I was lucky too. And then I got traded and I played with Mario Mew.
Yeah.
And he was like, holy geez. And he was a quiet guy, but on the ice, holy mackerel, did that guy have talent? Well, it's unbelievable, right? So, and I was always stayed there. I even talked to Paul Coffey this morning, and because we stayed in touch because we were roommates together, right? So most of the time, even when we got traded with each other, we became roommates. So Paul could skate like the wind, and he was unbelievable defenseman and a great friend, right?
I hear Paul's a good golfer.
Yeah, he golfs. He's better than I am. I'll guarantee you that. I'm not that good. I don't. Yeah, Paul's a good golfer. Yeah,
somebody we had on, I think Grant Fuhrer maybe told us that he was a good golfer.
Yeah, well, Grant golfs so much. He lives in Palm Springs, right?
Yeah,
he lives on the golf course, basically.
Yeah, well, a lot of people forget, Grant Fuhrer, and you could see today in hockey, guys. You watch the game even more than I do. But we had 2 great goaltenders, guys. Grant Fuhrer. And we were very fortunate. There was a series where Grant Fuhrer, or even if Grant, that one series he got hurt, Andy Moog stepped in. It's unbelievable. We were very fortunate to have 2 goalies like that.
And then you brought it up, the trade with Coffey and Coquitlam's own Wayne Van Dorp.
Wayner. Yeah, he was a good guy.
Yeah, that's a good friend of the show.
Yeah. Well, that I always told Paul he was the throw-in, right, guys? Yeah, I was, but really, I was they muzzled through hockey sticks in, But it was hard to leave at that time. You love playing in Edmonton, and you love winning. Number one, I don't care what anybody says, you do love winning. It's more fun winning than losing. So what happened is that was a big challenge, and to go there and at first you just accept it, but it's you learn it's just part of the game, right? Mm-hmm. You can't control where all you control is what you do on the ice and do your best.
That's right. And you were lucky enough to go back to Edmonton.
Yes, at the end of my career, I got pulled back. But Glenn Sather at that time, he knew I wanted. They had a few guys, their younger guys, hurt at that time, and he wanted extra players. And he knew I wanted to live in Edmonton to end my career. So that's why I think he just did me a favor. Yeah, back in them days, yeah, okay, you can come back here and live. But you know, I don't think a lot of times people don't talk enough about your coaches, like say they're our training staff, like Sparky, Barry Stafford, even Peter Miller was there, and Teddy Green, John Muckler. They're all part of us too, and they were like, we grew up together, right?
Yeah.
You know, like it was just like we grew up together. And back then, a lot of players, you know, we were very fortunate because I was with Edmonton almost 8 years, almost 9 years, right? So because it's 78 right on. And so you're very lucky to be with the same guys, so you really get to know guys, right? And really become friends, right?
Who would you say your dream round of golf would be with?
Well, I like to play with I haven't played with them here. Like Wayne Gretzky, Marilyn Mew, Bobby Orr.
There you go. That's a solid foursome.
He's my favorite. When I was a kid, I loved him. He was right at the end of his career when I came in as a 20-year-old. Because remember, we were drafted back then as a 20-year-old, right? So yeah. So, but you know, Bobby Orr, that would be my dream there, guys. Yeah,
I think that'd be everybody's.
Yeah, that's a pretty solid foursome. I'm not gonna lie, golf.
I was like, oh yeah, that'd be fun. Yeah.
And then you headed to Winnipeg to end your career there. What ended up making you call it quits?
Well, when I came back, you know, a lot of times really, to be honest, nobody else wants you guys. Yeah. You get to a point when nobody wants you, it's time to pack it in. Yeah. And sometimes it's like anything, guys. It's like your guys' career. You guys have a passion for this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you feel like, when even my job in the oil field, I'm in the oil field now. If you feel like you're losing that passion, sometimes
it's time to call it. Yeah. I hear it.
But really, it comes down to nobody else wants you, so you better say, okay, I pack it in, right? So, but it comes to it, you know, where, you know, you have to pay. A lot of guys retired at that time at 31 to 33, right?
Yeah.
In that time.
Now they play a little bit late, a little bit older.
A lot of forwards at that time were all between that 31 and 35, right? You didn't see as many guys 35 up to 40 or 40 over. No, not back then. No.
Now you got Chara playing into his 42s.
Oh, yeah. You know how tough that is, guys?
Was old. Chilios played for a long time.
Oh, he 42, didn't he? 43?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of them players, you know, the training, you know, and what they have to go. And, you know, that's tough playing at that age, guys. Your body just sometimes says no to you, right?
Of course.
Yeah, you think in your mind, you can play, but their body sometimes says, hey, no, you're not going to play tonight. Right? Right? Yeah.
Sounds like me at beer league.
Yeah. You just don't have it. Yeah.
You dropped the gloves a couple times in your career. You weren't really known for the fighting, but you were ready to stick up for any teammate. Do any of your fights stick out for you?
Well, in junior, I got beat up twice by Jay Wells. That was in one game. Yeah, I always remember them fights, right? Where a guy would give it to you. Because back then, there was a code. If you got in a fight when you walked out of the penalty box, you had to fight again if you lost, right? Or
that's right.
You're called chicken shit. Yeah, you're chicken. And when I lost the second time, I said, no hat trick here. I think I guess you remember the losses and you know, a lot of times, but you never really get, you know, some guys maybe broke their nose or cheekbone, but Not as much as people think it is, right? It's usually a bad check, guys, with a stick.
Exactly.
Or somebody gets somebody in the head, or but most times in fights, right? You don't see that, because we used to grab a hold before we got hurt.
That's right.
Right. And what did you do with the Stanley Cup when you got it for a day or two?
Oh, be truthful, we just went to bar right in Edmonton, guys. We never I think every bar in town saw the Stanley Cup.
That's awesome.
And we didn't have a chance to bring it home.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so it was different.
It wasn't where you actually. We usually back then we went as a group together. If we went, I actually brought it to the racetrack though.
Okay.
Oh yeah, so all the people loved it. But we brought it. Some Glenn Anderson, we brought it to the racetrack. So anybody in town, but to really bring it back home where you came from, that didn't happen as much back then. Times, right? Yeah.
And you didn't really have to fight back then when we were just talking about fighting. I mean, you got Cement Head on your team. I'm pretty sure you were looked after.
Well, you got to remember, he was my drinking buddy too, so he always took care of me. Yeah, like I always told you got to take care of me. But Dave was a classic guy. A lot of people don't realize he was actually a very funny man off the ice out. Oh, he had a sense of humor. Oh, I sat with him in the dressing room for my whole time in Edmonton.
Wow.
So he was always giving me shots all the time. Even between periods, he's always saying something to me, right? So, so we used to have some great laughs, and he was a great guy. He passed away now, guys. Yeah. And he was I have a lot of respect for Dave Semenko.
Do you have a favorite piece of sports memorabilia that you've collected?
Yeah, we kept, what I got mostly is these miniature Stanley Cups and stuff. So we got,
cool.
Yeah, they were really cool. And they had the names on it. And then we had the miniature for each cup you won. And yeah. And then, so I think that was with the Stanley Cups when you won, that was a pretty good, guys would put it up in your room and, and, yeah, it was a great item to get, right?
Of course. And what was it like playing in the outdoor alumni game?
Oh, I really enjoyed it. I got too fat in there, my good guys, right? They had too fat, but that was really enjoyable because that was the first outdoor game, right? Yeah, Commonwealth. But it was packed. It was cold. That's Alberta for you. It was cold, but that was really hockey at his best, right? Guys, beer in the stands were freezing if you sat it down for 3 minutes. But it was we really enjoyed that. That was a lot of fun to get everybody together. We have good. I think the biggest thing you miss in hockey, and you don't realize until the game's over, is the dressing room, all the jabbing, all the fun. That's what you miss. Well, you guys see it. You get with a bunch of guys. You have pass on it. You guys see the same thing. That's when you get together. Everybody says something. There's always something going on, right? So,
right.
Yeah. What would you say your pump up music was when you were playing? Was there a song that you listened to before the games? And number one and number two, the second question for you is, did you have any rituals or routines that you did before games?
My songs were country western. Johnny Cash. Remember back in then when you watched it, all the guys used to get mad at me. Like I got in the dressing room first. I would put country western on.
I love it.
Oh yeah, they would get mad at me. You get that music off. We can't get pumped up. I love country western, to be honest with you. Johnny Cash, all the old country western singers,
Yeah, okay.
So yeah, but a lot of the guys liked all the other real loud music. I couldn't hardly hear after a while, right? But I think the music has changed a bit now today.
Oh yeah.
But I think the ritual is we were superstitious, right? You always did the same thing. You went when you left your house on a game day, especially in the playoffs. You always went the same way. You always put on your skates you put your right skate on first before you put your, like just little things like that, like little things, like, everybody will say, geez, that's pretty stupid. But really, it's just little things. You came into the dressing room. I used to go and talk to the trainers every time when I first came in. So just things where you came in, you sat around and you discuss, a lot of us got there 2.5, 3 hours earlier before a game. So you had time to do that. Right. So.
While we're on the music there, what was your first concert you ever went to, if you can remember?
Holy geez, that's a good question.
Or what about your last?
You know what, guys? I hate to tell you, my wife, thank God my wife's not here right now. I never go to concerts.
Okay.
Yeah. But I went to the Eagles.
Okay.
I went
to the Eagles first. Yeah. I went to the Eagle concert. And I enjoyed that. I enjoyed their music, right? The Eagles and all that stuff, right? So, and nowadays, geez, I couldn't remember. There was concerts came in before the COVID. And my wife and my daughter would go. I wouldn't go.
Sometimes you got to get the wipes out of your hair.
Oh, yeah. You got to have time by yourself, guys, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And what was the first vinyl you owned?
What's that?
What was the first vinyl you owned?
Oh, geez, that's a good question. Well, that had to be back. Jesus, guys, that had to be back 30 years ago, right? Yeah. Geez, the first time would be it'd be late 80s, right? Right.
Okay.
Right? Yeah.
What was your favorite stadium you played in? Like, what was your favorite road rink?
I love the I mentioned Chicago there.
Chicago,
in the top 5, but I love Montreal.
Okay.
I loved it. And a lot of guys like New York, but I love Montreal because of the winning years, the atmosphere. It was like unbelievable. They had so many great players like Guy Lafleur and all that. It was like I think we had so much respect for a lot of them players when we first came in, right? So that Montreal Stadium, I love the national anthem. Remember, you guys will remember he passed away now too, but he sang the national anthem. You get goosebumps, and it was a privilege. I love going to Montreal the old days, and the fun away from the game after the game too, guys. There was a lot of fun in Montreal. You got to remember that, guy. Montreal. It's a fun party town too, right?
Yeah, Montreal's got the best lady dancers in all of Eastern Canada.
Oh yeah, it was a great city for fun, for the stadium. It was a great place. Even Quebec, guys. Quebec. My brother Dale played in Quebec, right? So the Nordiques and stuff. So it was a great city. Well, you got to remember, everybody, Quebec City, Montreal, they love hockey. Doesn't matter who it is. It's like the ladies, the kids, the older group, everybody was into the game, right? Yeah.
Yep. Hey, Dave, go ahead, Ray. Go ahead.
If they could create a slogan about your life, what would it be?
That would be a good one, though. I think the slogan is you had to learn, first of all, I had to be humble. Humble in the game, humble when you finish the game, and you had to go to work. Even after the game, guys, it was a big adjustment for a lot of guys when they finished their career too. I don't know if you guys ever had guys on talking about that, right?
Yeah.
And I had to learn, that when hockey was over, it was time to go to work, because really the slogan is go to work and have a passion for the game.
That's a good one.
No matter if it's work or it doesn't matter what you do in life. That's the biggest thing, because if you don't have fun doing it, there's no use doing it.
No, you're right. That's a good one. Dave, I just want to thank you very much for taking the time for us today and coming on and chatting with us. We really appreciate it. And we're big fans of the Hunter family, and we have been for a long time.
Well, thank you for asking. Sorry about the last time, guys. It's been, I really appreciate you inviting me.
Looking for the most beers on tap? Great steaks, great staff? Head over to the John B. Pub.
We got the best beers, steaks, chicken wings, nachos in town. Come see us at the John B. Pub.
The John B. Pub, the best bar in town. Come sign up for our football pool. Say Hayes sent you.